Next on News 3 at 11, help on the home front. One local family is readying for deployment thanks to an unlikely source. Plus, our community coming together across the hosted city tonight to help neighbors in need.
And coming up in the complete Storm Team 3 forecast, tomorrow could be even hotter than today. But over the weekend, big changes are going to hit. And your forecast is coming up in just a moment.
WSAV News 3 at 11 starts now.
Now, the smart choice for news, weather, and sports for Georgia's coastal empire and the South Carolina Lowcountry. This is WSAV News 3 on your side at 11.
Good evening, I'm Ben Singer. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tina has the evening off. We do begin with that storm system in the Caribbean. Storm Team 3 Chief Meteorologist Chris Allward is joining us with a first look. Chris?
All right, Ben. Well, tonight in the coastal empire and Lowcountry, all is quiet. We have no storms, nothing to track here at home. But if we look right off to the south, we are watching a disturbance very close to Cuba. Now, this is not a tropical depression, not a tropical storm yet, but it could be. It is going to be moving overland where it gets weaker, but eventually as it moves out into the water, it could become something in the next couple of days. So we are watching it really closely for you. But for now, your main story here at home, it's the heat. We will start off in the lower 70s, but we will heat up quickly tomorrow later in the day, hitting 90 already by lunchtime, and then highs reaching all the way to the mid-90s. The record high tomorrow happens to be 98, and that was set back in 1986, and we could come pretty close. I'll have much more because not only are we heating up tomorrow, but we are going to see a big cool down over the weekend, and we will track it all in just a little bit. All right, Ben, back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. The U.S. government is sending a group of ships and thousands more military personnel to Puerto Rico to address the growing humanitarian crisis caused by Hurricane Maria. The U.S. Navy released video of the supply operation with the U.S. Construction Battalion and Marines moving supplies and vehicles from ships onto land. FEMA said 16 Navy and Coast Guard ships were in the waters around Puerto Rico, with 10 more on the way. Planes and ships are also bringing in a military force to help distribute the aid. Military aircraft dropping food and water to areas on the island still isolated and unable to receive help by road. Here at home, after Irma devastated parts of Tybee Island, neighbors continue to team up to help each other in the recovery. Called Totally In for Tybee. From morning until late tonight, Tubby's Tank House and Thunderbolt and Molly McGuire's on Wilmington Island joined up with local Tybee bands to raise money for storm survivors. A call to action to show that truly no man is an island.
My family's here, and some of them got flooded, like my sister standing behind the camera there. Her house got flooded, and a lot of friends got flooded, so I'm sure they can use all the help they can get.
And 100% of the funds raised, we're told, will go directly to Tybee residents. In a News 3 follow-up, River Street has turned a corner on recovery after Irma. The Hyatt Regency's ballroom had a lot of storm damage, but just over 2 weeks later, the repairs are complete. Irma's storm surge at high tide pushed the Savannah River out of its banks and onto River Street. The Hyatt's ballroom took on water. At the height of the flooding, more than a foot of water was standing in the 9,000 square foot space. The hotel's director of sales and events says as the water receded, work to deal with the damage got underway.
So they took everything out, all of the glue and everything else, and then there's a special conditioning that has to go down because of the water. Pulled up the baseboards all the way around, made sure that the special treatments were put in, lay the brand new carpet, put everything back in. So it was quite a job.
The hotel's general manager says the Hyatt's ballroom is the only area of the hotel that was damaged during Tropical Storm Irma, and the ballroom has been restored and is now ready for the holiday season, their busiest time of the year for events. Right now, hundreds of local soldiers are just days away from deployment after President Trump's announcement last month to expand troop involvement in Afghanistan for what he sees as a way to win the longest war in the nation's history. News 3's Meredith Stutz spoke to one family taking a unique approach as they manage life on the home front. Meredith.
Yes, Ben, the Johnson family has a lot going on. Soccer, church, school, and Dad's getting ready to be deployed again. But before he heads out, they have just welcomed in a new member of the family who's crossed the Atlantic for a very special mission.
For Army Staff Sergeant Jeremy Johnson, 3 is an important number. He and his wife Chelsea have 3 kids, and in less than a month, he's getting ready for his 3rd combat deployment.
I haven't been deployed with kids yet.
Sergeant Johnson is a helicopter medic and crew chief preparing to head to Afghanistan for the 2nd time.
We only told the kids today. It's hard if you're a 5-year-old to know that Dad's going, and time is relative with them.
He was deployed to South Korea for a year, but with breaks to come home to see Chelsea and the 3 kids, Alora, Elijah, and Emma. This time isn't like that.
No chance to come home.
And with the possibility of going weeks without talking, the Johnsons knew they needed a plan.
Deployments come, all the worry.
Last Christmas, they won a military raffle with Au Pair in America, and Au Pair is a live-in nanny on an international exchange. After finding out about Jeremy's deployment, the couple decided to apply and came across 18-year-old Anja Newman.
Watching her video, I was like, this is her. I just know it.
Newman is from Germany and just arrived last week. A perfect match, they say, because the Johnsons were stationed in Germany.
We just have another family member.
While there are discounts available, au pairs cost a family $8,600 a year on average. Plus, each au pair earns around $200 per week. Newman is the first-time au pair, and now she has a special mission while Dad is away.
My hope was and is they listen to me, they love me, they accept me. I hope that's not too hard for them. That's only me is there and not Daddy.
A big help in the form of a sort of big sister.
It's made this process for me easier, knowing that the kids are going to have help and I'm going to have help, and it just kind of relieves a lot of the stress that comes with being alone while your spouse is gone.
For more information on the Au Pair in America program, type in au pair to WSAV.com. Meredith Stats, WSAV News 3.
Meredith, thank you. In several Savannah neighborhoods, cat owners are desperate to find 2 dogs that have been attacking and killing their pets. As many as 20 cats have been attacked or killed in the past 4 days. They are taking place in at least 3 neighborhoods: Mayfair, Halcyon Hills, and the Crest Hill subdivision, where the cat was attacked Monday night. Mike Mabry owned that cat and says his cat Pea Pie died this morning of her injuries. He and a neighbor heard the attack and then saw the 2 dogs. Chatham County Animal Services says it is trying to trap the dogs and that cat owners should keep their cats inside and not leave out cat food. New tonight, a South Carolina man was killed today after an explosion at a Georgia chemical plant. A spokesperson for the city of Augusta says the explosion happened at DSM Chemical. It was the result of a welding accident. 2 other people were hurt. Officials say those workers are being treated for exposure to chemicals. Augusta's fire chief says the facility was not evacuated and the explosion did not present any harm to the general public.
To our knowledge, there was no chemical leak. Like I said, and some of that other information will be determined as a more thorough, more scientific type of investigation took place.
Identified as 29-year-old Stephen Gonslaves of Beach Island, and the incident is still under investigation. In our 4-year safety report tonight, firefighters in the Palmetto State have been very busy lately, and that is a major cause for concern. They say they are seeing a dramatic increase in fires that could have been prevented. These are pictures from the latest fire in Burton last night. The family was able to get out alive. Fire investigators think the blaze may have been started by a hoverboard charging in a bedroom. Beaufort had 1 fire death last year. This year, there's already been 4, all in mobile homes. South Carolina currently ranks in the top 5 for fire deaths per capita. Burton Fire says whether a house or a mobile home, the cause of the spike is the same as the solution: smoke detectors.
Something that we keep saying over and over again, but it's a reality for us. The homes that we're responding to where there's been fatalities, there's no smoke detector working in the house that we could determine. The homes where everybody's escaped and fire damages were minimized were homes that had working smoke detectors.
Now, if you don't have a smoke detector or aren't sure if yours is working, some local fire departments like Burton and Bluffton will install them for you. A pregnant woman and her unborn child are dead after a random shooting in Myrtle Beach on Sunday night. 3 suspects are now being charged in that deadly shooting: A.J. Alston, Wallace Grant, and Jordan Pyatt, and police say more arrests could be coming. Officers responded to multiple gunshots shortly after 7 on Sunday night and found those 2 victims. One of the victims, the pregnant woman, died from her injuries there along with her unborn child. That investigation is still going on. A prisoner set to be put to death last night has been granted a temporary stay of execution. The U.S. Supreme Court granted the request because of claims by Keith Tharp's attorneys that race was a factor in the conviction. Tharp was sentenced to death for the killing of his sister-in-law in 1990. Suicide among veterans is 22% higher than for civilians. That is according to the latest data released by the Department of Veterans Affairs this month. Today, lawmakers met to discuss what can be done to combat the increasing and worrisome trend. National correspondent Anna Wernicke has more.
all agree that this is a crisis.
The epidemic of veteran suicide is a crisis that Arkansas Republican Senator John Bozeman says is getting worse.
In Arkansas, I think we're number 10 in suicide rate overall.
The Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs took a look at this report released by the Department of Veterans Affairs earlier this month. It shows that 20 veterans commit suicide every day.
Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal blames the startling numbers on what he calls the VA's biggest problem.
What I am hearing again and again and again is that the suicide rates are increasing among veterans who lack access.
Veterans Affairs Secretary Dr. David Shulkin says he is working to fix this.
But we can't help those that we don't see.
He is asking senators for more money to set up more hospitals in rural and urban areas. But Craig Bryan with the National Center for Veterans Studies says even vets who get treatment still might not get the help they need.
What unsettles me the most as a veteran is knowing that when a fellow veteran overcomes these barriers, he or she is unlikely to receive the treatments that are most likely to save their lives.
What we're trying to do is more aggressively than ever before to outreach to veterans that aren't getting access to care.
Secretary Shulkin says if the VA gets more money, it hopes to hire up to 1,000 mental health professionals to help veterans before it's too late. In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki, WSAV News 3.
Next on News 3 at 11, struggling to stay afloat in tough conditions. After the break, meet the low-country farmer facing two big obstacles this season.
And coming up in the Complete Storm Team 3 forecast, yes, it could be even hotter tomorrow, but this cold front right here, it is on the way, and it's going to make a huge difference for your weekend. And we will cover it all after the break. You're watching WSAV News 3 on your side at 11.
You're watching WSAV News 3 on your side at 11 with Tina Tyus Shaw, Ben Singer, Chief Meteorologist Chris Allred, and Greg Talbot with sports. WSAV News 3 honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards, including 2 for coverage of Hurricane Matthew.
A low-country farmer can't catch a break from Mother Nature. As News 3's Holly Bounds shows us tonight, he is having to start from square one for the 3rd year in a row.
As soon as you pull up at Barefoot Farms on St. Helena Island, you can sense something is off.
It's hard, but we're surviving out of, as we make do.
You don't usually see the tractor and park, and farmer Jackie Frazier rarely sits still either. But once again, he's landed on the losing end with Mother Nature.
We lost our greens, our lettuce, our tomatoes, and our watermelons.
Tropical Storm Irma marked the 3rd consecutive year he's had to pitch all the produce and start from square one.
Since we thought we were getting over, we're back at the same place. We keep backing up.
What's filling the bins now is brought in from other areas, a tough pill for the local farmer to swallow.
Like I said, we're just surviving, that's it.
To make matters even worse, the temporary closing of Hunting Island State Park wipes out about 70% of his traffic flow. He knows the figure because Hurricane Matthew put him in the same boat last year.
The tourists are not here, and when Hunting Island is closed, it hurts real bad.
So he's left depending on the locals, like Sharika Brodus, who stops by every day for a little bag of food, a 30-year tradition she's determined to pass on.
Always, as long as I live here, even if I go out of town and move, I'm still going to support Barefoot. I grew up here.
For 68 years now, this way of living is all Jackie Frazier's known. And he's learned, even in the worst of times, somehow smiling makes this survival mode a little easier.
I don't need to cry about it. It's not going to change.
On St. Helena Island, I'm Holly Bounds, WSAV News 3.
Now, there is a glimmer of hope here. Frazier feels confident in a month he will have all local winter crops ready for sale. That includes collards, broccoli, carrots, and turnips.
Now, Storm Team 3 weather, powered by Spiro's Live Titan Radar.
All right, y'all, you got to take a look at this. It is alligator season in Georgia, and this is Dalton Wise. He's 17 years old, and he caught this gator this past weekend, measuring 10 feet and about 400 pounds. Now that takes a lot of guts right there, Dalton. Now if you have a weather photo or video and you want it featured on News 3, just snap it and send it to pics, PICS@WSAV.com. But tonight in the Coastal Empire and Lowcountry, the big story for us happens to be the heat. Today we hit a high of 94 and tomorrow could be as hot, if not even hotter. So we're getting close to that record high of 98 that was set back in 1986. And even Friday is going to be on the hotter side, but not nearly as hot as it was a year ago. That's when we set the record, 2016, with a high of 95 degrees. But right now, as we take a live look through our Dozier Log Cam, it's a quiet night downtown Savannah, and it's a warm one. We have dropped to 76, and winds are light at just 3 miles per hour out of the south. Now we're only going to see a few more degrees drop tonight with our overnight lows down to the lower 70s. We're looking at mostly sunny skies, hitting 82 at 10, 90 at lunchtime, and then there we go. Those highs all the way to the mid 90s. And with the humidity on the higher end, yes, it could feel as hot as 100 by the middle of the afternoon. So try to take it easy. Very latest on our Spiros Live Titan radar. Not a lot going on here at home, but we have a lot going on over here to the northwest. See this cold front right here? That's what we're tracking. Now this cold front, it is on the way. So it's going to approach, move in from the northwest. It will get here on Friday and push completely through in time for the weekend, bringing with it a big, big cool down. So at the moment, here we are at 76 degrees, but take a look at how it's down in the 50s over here to the west, up here to the north. That is the cooler air that's going to make its way to us. And we're talking about a big difference. Like even right now in Chicago, they're seeing the cool down, and it's a 16-degree drop from 24 hours ago. But before we cool down, we will stay hot tomorrow. 94 degrees, record of 98 set back in 1986. Winds will be out of the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then tomorrow night, under mostly clear skies, we will drop to an overnight low of 72. Winds will stay light out of the northwest. For the marine forecast, it's very calm. Actually, extremely calm. I have not given a forecast of just a 1 foot wave, and I don't know when. Winds out of the west-southwest, 5 to 10 knots, with your low tide at 8:30 in the morning. So here we go. Look, 7-day forecast. You're hot the next 2 days, and then over the weekend, we could see a few showers on Saturday, but it will be so much cooler. Highs in the lower 80s, and on Sunday with a mix of sun and clouds, a high of only 78. And once that cooler air moves in, it stays, because next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we will keep those highs at around 80.
Wow, and not sticky.
No, not sticky.
Yeah.
Humidity
I mean, humidity is the technical term, yeah.
Yes,
But sticky, okay. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Well, it is the eve of a milestone for a Savannah artist. Drayton Glassworks continues to breathe life into an ancient art form, hand-blown glass. News 3's Martin Staunton gives you a closer look inside their studio as they are set to celebrate 15 years in business.
This is a look inside the studios of Drayton Glassworks. For a decade and a half, owner and glass artisan John Poirier has been hand-blowing functional works of art using heat, breath, and talent to turn molten glass into items some collectors clamor to have.
You have to sell it to be around for 15 years, so we've been lucky enough that people enjoy what we make.
What they make seems like magic as they continue in the tradition of ancient artists. Hand-blown glass goes back 2,000 years.
We do it like they do 2,000 years ago because we like it. You know, it's just like if you're into wood or if you're into metal, there's something about it that brings us back every day.
Poirier has brought in colleagues who literally crossed an ocean to help him celebrate his longevity and his talent. They come from Denmark, Austria, and Sweden, where Poirier learned his craft from a master.
John is amazing. He learned at the old Swedish master, same like I do. And he's working the Swedish style of glass making. You see the thick walls and the heavy glass.
Keeping the craftsmanship of a 2,000-year-old craft, I find it very important, and I'm feeling all the technology is taking over. We need to take like 10 steps backwards and do it right again.
Poirier's colleagues say he's doing it right, and 15 years in business proves it. He's positive that he's pursued the right profession, making a living in the 21st century from an ancient art form. Reporting in Savannah, I'm Martin Staunton, WSAV News 3.
So there will be much more on the Drayton Glassworks anniversary coming up tomorrow morning on the bridge. That begins at 11. Right now, we're going to talk some sports.
That's right. Coming up, our Friday Night Blitz game of the week this week might be the best game for a while in Southeast Georgia. We will take you inside that matchup between Glenn Academy and Wayne County. Everything you need to know about this major showdown after the break. The reason we moved our live football broadcast from Thursdays to Fridays this year was so we could broadcast the best games around here every week. And this week, our live telecast is not just the best game in the region, it might be the most competitive game in Southeast Georgia, which is really saying something. We will be down in Jessup for Wayne County's showdown with Glenn Academy. If you don't know yet, Wayne County's undefeated at 4-0 this year after winning just 3 games each of the last 2 seasons. And you got to think it's because of that guy right there, their new head coach, Ken Cribb, who came down in the offseason after a truly great run leading the Bluffton Bobcats, which included an undefeated regular season and Final Four run last year. He helped them announce their presence with a win over Valdosta in week 2, and he loves the pride Jessup is taking right now in this program.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've never seen a community that so into it. I mean, you know, our high school are Yellow Jackets. Both our middle schools mascot are Yellow Jackets. We have several elementary schools mascots Yellow Jackets. So, you know, it's so much fun to go grocery shopping or, you know, stop in the convenience store. That's what they all want to talk about. We play a fun style football. The kids, you know, it's just I've never seen a town so excited or so interested, or they're pretty motivated right now.
As for Glenn Academy, if you just look at their record, you might think they're down this year, but that is a rookie mistake. They beat always tough Ware County, but lost to 2 undefeated teams, Benedictine and Tift County. But being practical, the really tough part for them is that they haven't played an actual game in 4 weeks because Hurricane Irma did damage in Brunswick, so that's an issue.
It'll probably have some effect on us. I mean, having not played a game in 4 weeks. But we can't worry about those things. I've told our kids repeatedly, we got to go out and practice football, and we got to practice at a game tempo. Last Thursday we went out, we ran a game here with our inter-squad game, full speed. It was very competitive. But some of we just gonna have to get out and play, and we're gonna have to work through it early, and hopefully, you know, we can weather the storm and play well late.
We are live at 7:30 on WSAV CW Friday night. The story here is a big one. Wayne is already a consensus top 10 ranked team in 5A this year, and it went over the 6A powerhouse who went to the state title 2 years ago. That would put the rest of the state of Georgia on high alert. Well, back in Savannah, we have known about the Web.com tour coming to town next spring since they made their announcement this summer. But today, the PGA put out their official 2018 schedule, so the rest of the world now knows the professional golf is coming back to the city limits. As we reported, it'll be late March of next year into early April at the Landings Club, specifically the Deer Creek course. It'll be the first time we've had pro golf back here since the Champions Tour left a couple years ago. And speaking of golf, the legendary Lee Trevino is coming to the Low Country for a special question and answer session next Tuesday at Belfair Plantation in Bluffton. I'll be helping moderate the discussion. And you know he's going to have some terrific stories because he's one of the great personalities of the game's history. It is open to the public, so go ahead and call Belfair in Bluffton for details. It starts around 11:30 on Tuesday. Ben, we have been so excited for this game between Glenn Academy and Wayne County. It's going to be must-see TV. I don't use that lightly, but if you want to see a bunch of college recruits in 2 of the best programs in the state of Georgia, Friday night, WSAV CW 7:30. That's a must-watch if you're a big football fan.
We'll be watching. Yeah. Thank you so much. And you are watching News 3 on your side at 11. We're back right after this.
Hey guys, Jared Leto is here for a Name That Song challenge. Plus we have Nicole Richie, music from Tyler the Creator. Do not change the channel.
So a bit of breaking news to share with you that was just into the WSAV newsroom a few moments ago. We've learned from NBC News that Playboy founder Hugh Hefner has passed away. He was 91 years old, and you can read more about that on the NBC News website right now. In the meantime, we want to tell you about this. Dubai is testing the world's first flying taxi service. It's the autonomous air taxi, is unmanned, electric. It has 2 seats, 18 rotors, and can take off and land vertically. Dubai's Crown Prince was the first test passenger. If all goes well, the new service could launch in the next 5 years. Chris and I were kind of debating that, and we're gonna let a bunch of people try that out before we get on in there.
Yeah, something happens. Oh,
Yeah.
let me talk you through it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No. We need somebody in there to troubleshoot. Anyway, she's going to wrap up the forecast now.
Yeah, it's hot again tomorrow. Highs mid-90s with mostly sunny skies. It will stay on the warmer side on Friday too, but we do have a cold front coming and it will cool you down. So over the weekend, highs back off to the upper 70s to the lower 80s.
All right, thank you, Chris, and thanks for joining us tonight. The Tonight Show is next.